The first thing I thought to myself when I boot up Expedition 33 was, wow, this game looks really pretty. And then I'm running around and I'm like, wow, this game is holding 60 FPS perfectly. Like, this is polished. And then I'm like, whoa, the story, like, what is going on? I think you see a pattern here, and this continued pretty much through my entire playthrough of this game. And before I get into my main review of this game and my thoughts on it, I want to talk about how this affects the gaming industry, or, it might not even affect it at all, but it definitely sends a clear message. Expedition 33 has now been sold out of pretty much every retailer with its physical copies, and in general, it is blowing up, and there's a reason for it. This is a game made by passionate people. There is only 30 members on Sandfall Games' team, and they managed to make this game. It is extremely polished. The story has a lot of emotion and heart and looks like there is a lot of passion put into it. The combat system is really well done, and not only is there like a 25 to 30 hour main story, there is so many side activities that are actually good. You look at this game and you're like, how is this only $50? We have games that are coming out like Assassin's Creed Shadows that have who knows how many devs on that Ubisoft team. And the game is basically $70, $80 in other countries. And there's DLC skins. The game does not come on the disc. You have to update the game before you even play it. And then here's Expedition 33, where you can collect countless skins in-game for your characters by doing activities. You can put the disc into your PlayStation and it will just play. You don't need an update and it just comes polished. And then you have other AAA releases like Monster Hunter Wilds, which I love that game. I absolutely adore it, but it runs like ass. It is not polished in the slightest. So it's like, what is going on here? And I truly, in my opinion, think it comes down to passion versus money. You gotta create video games to make money, right? It's a business at the end of the day, but they're also creating art and experiences. And this company, it's their first game. Again, they don't have that many members, so they were doing almost a passion project. While yes, it needs to make them income, but they were really just focused on making a game that they thought was amazing. Heavily inspired by JRPGs and many JRPG series that we know and love. And it is a French studio, but I honestly would classify this as a JRPG in the sense where it has the soul of one, even though it's from a French studio. They knew what makes JRPGs amazing, or RPGs in general. Amazing boss fights, great in-depth combat, a story that grips you, a soundtrack that blows your mind and has a tune for every occasion, especially when an intense boss fight comes around. They're going to be going crazy. I swear, some of these songs, they told the orchestra, imagine this is your last day on Earth and this is the last song you'll ever make. It was like that crazy and hype at times. The characters are likable. There's a lot of player choice in this game. There's even some fan service in this game. Like, they just knew what makes these games click and the fun aspects of them. And I think it just says a lot about the kind of gaming industry right now. There's a lot of AAA games that come out that are still amazing, for sure. But the higher ups are definitely time crunching these devs, or the entirety of the studio is sitting down and they're focusing more on what is the mainstream and giant audience looking for? What do they enjoy? Instead of sitting down and being like, what do we want to create? What are we passionate about? What new ideas do we want to try? And it's really funny because when you sit down and you focus on your passion and what art you want to create, it usually results in a lot more income. These guys are making bank right now. Again, it's sold out in multiple retailers and it's huge on Steam right now. But I think I talked about enough how it inspires the gaming industry and hopefully it makes a change in a few areas. Now let's talk about why I think it's so great. I'm a gameplay guy first and foremost. That's what my channel is mostly based on, and in RPGs I look at gameplay first. But when a story blows me away or is really well done, I love it. That's usually what makes me have my favorite RPGs, is when the story's amazing and the gameplay's amazing. And there's a lot of effort and emotion put into this story. I'm going to avoid very clear spoilers. I'm barely going to talk about the story, to be honest, because it's something you should experience. But they got amazing voice actors and the mocap for the cutscenes are really good. There's slight times you could tell it's obviously not AAA budget, but it looks surprisingly great in cutscenes and characters interacting with each other. The story keeps a great pace through the whole game. There's so much mystery, and it really keeps you on your toes at times and will totally surprise you, literally from the get-go. So I think they did an amazing job with the story. The characters are very likable, and they obviously really cared about sending a message through this story. And I'm not even going to tell you the message or the theme of the game because I don't want to give away anything, but I thought the story was really great. There was times towards the second half of the game where it didn't go in a direction I wanted, but I could still acknowledge that the story was really well done and they told the story they wanted to tell. There were just moments personally that I didn't fully enjoy, and that's also because I like games where there's some positive messaging in areas, and this game does have some of that, but it's a pretty intense, dark story overall, for sure. You might leave this game just kind of sitting there staring at your wall because it's very intense. And then the combat is also fantastic. It might be one of my favorite turn-based combat systems ever. There's a lot of player choice in how you build your characters, and when you're on the offensive, it's a lot like turn-based games you know. You want to do buffs, debuffs, and you kind of want to stack your characters together, like do things in a certain order to get the maximum amount of damage. But then on the defensive, it turns into a straight action game almost like a Souls game at points where you have to memorize boss movesets very particularly. Like if you're gonna have to maybe die a few times before you know all the moves, and then you could either dodge, which has a bigger window so it's a bit easier but it doesn't get you much in return, or you could parry, which has a very tight window, but it's going to get you AP, which that lets you use more abilities, and you're going to counterattack at the enemies. No joke, you can go through bosses or enemies in this game and pure skill them, where you parry everything and you just demolish them, but it's really hard. I played this game on expert mode, and it's definitely a hard challenge, but it's very fun. And I even tried a bit of the normal mode to kind of test how it is, and it's on the more difficult side, where you could be super strong and overpowered, but the enemies will still destroy you, so you have to be good at the defensive abilities. And I really loved the combination in skill you need for this game. You have to be good at turn-based strategizing, so almost puzzle solving, and you also have to be good at reaction time, so dodging and parrying. I thought it was such a great mix, and the enemy moves were really cool to watch, and they also had really good things like sound cues, so there's always a way to see when they're going to do their moves. Like, it's not unfair at all. They did a lot to let you know, okay, this move is coming to hit you. And then the exploration I thought was top tier. The areas are so uniquely designed, like everything looks really weird or mysterious, so it's always fun exploring a new area, and it's linear, but with a lot of branching paths, and the branching paths are not boring. Like, a lot of the time, there's a good amount of stuff to collect and explore, and you're gonna get lost in a few instances, but not in a bad way. It's in a way where you're exploring, and you're like, oh, where does this lead to? When you're out of those linear areas, you're pretty much in a big open world map where you're running around or swimming, and it reminds us of a very old school JRPG style, which I thought was super cool and just makes you feel like the world is huge. Again, it's a great giant adventure with mystery and likable characters, and the pace in gameplay and story were very good in my opinion. And then the music I thought was just insane. There's a lot of variety here, way more than I thought there was going to be. Like, there's a lot of different boss specific themes, there's a lot of different battle themes, and some of the bosses, like, they knew what they were doing. When there was intense story moments, the boss themes that played were like, they have you standing up and singing along with them. It was so crazy, and they just make you feel badass and intense. They did such a good job in that regard, and usually I only see that from like Japanese devs. I usually don't see it in other RPGs where they get the music right like this, but again, you can tell they love JRPGs. They knew exactly what to do. And again, for the $50 price tag, it's insane how much content is here. Like, there's that main story, but there's a bunch of side quests, there's bonds you increase with your characters, you can collect a bunch of items, there's even mini games you'll find around the place that get you things like new skins, there's super bosses. Like, when you finish the game, there's multiple dungeons and bosses that say danger because you're too low of a level. Like, you have to be 70 to 99 in levels to even attempt these things, so there's a lot to do after the game. And then of course New Game Plus, very well put together RPG, man. I think it's a must play for RPG fans and JRPG fans, especially with that price tag, and I think this game should be supported. It's tied for my game of the year right now. The reason it's tied is because the first Berserker Kazan was like incredible to me combat-wise, like so much so that it competes with this game. But Expedition 33 is an overall more like polished, bombastic experience with a lot of passion here. So I had an absolutely fantastic time. I'm very close to 100%ing the game, and I think it's going to blow a lot of people away. So yeah, Expedition 33, fantastic first game from Sandfall Studios, fantastic RPG. I really enjoyed my experience with this game. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Let me know in the comments if you're going to get it or if you've already been playing it. Let me know what you think about it. And again, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.